Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. In today's episode, we're giving you all the brews and booze as spooky season is in full swing. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori.
Hello, hello.
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us. So I did want to put on a spooky t-shirt for this one, but then I'm very tired after work and I couldn't be bothered. But if you're watching the video, I do have my Happy Halloween sticker on that I got at a tasting panel today at work.
We were just regaling in the fact that we had options. Like I was going to wear another shirt, but I was like, I've got to hold fire on that now. So my version of spoopy is it's like a Sailor Moon type crop top sweater underneath my Lucy and Yaks. So, but I do have like my spoopy decorations up, but they're so far away you can't see them. But I will tell you, it's the Sanderson sisters in fake ass Lego format.
They are great.
I've
been getting Facebook Messenger updates as they get made.
They're all made now.
Yay!
So it's great. I've got my spoopy bitch. That always stays up there. That's year round. My spoopy bitch. My ghost with the sunglasses drinking a nice coffee mug because literally I love it. And then a little pink light up pumpkin in the background, but it's so far away that if you're watching this video, you probably can't see it. But I just thought I would narrate to you what was there so that you can enjoy.
Our spooky stuff is home decor. Spooky decor is not just for Halloween. It's all year round.
It's true.
It's for life. People.
Yeah, I do my summerween shopping for my seasonal home. It's not even seasonal home, just my year-round home stuff. Rick is done with it. Thankfully, they stopped it pretty much before October, so it's all Christmas now. I told someone today, so I'm trying to figure out. So my birthday's at the end of November.
Yeah.
This year it falls on a Friday, which is shocking because it never falls on a Friday. So I took that off because I was like, hell to the yeah, finally have a Friday off on my birthday. And then I thought, you know what, let's take the Thursday off as well. And then I'll do you one better. Let's see if we can get dog cover from Thursday to Sunday.
Nice.
And we did. And I was like, great. But then I started going, shit, where am I going to go with the time? Where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? And then I started panicking. And I've been trying to work out where we could go, what the options are. Do we stay in the UK? Do we go abroad? But my problem is when it gets to be that time of year, everywhere's Christmas markets. It's big cold. It's big cold. So
and you
don't like the cold. Hate it. Weirdly, as a New Englander, hate it. But big cold. So really just don't feel like I'm cut out for that. But also it's Christmas markets everywhere, which look, I'm not averse to a Christmas market. But I mean, that's just not, I feel like I'd pay more for something that I maybe don't get the enjoyment. It's more expensive to go to these type of places like Germany. Apparently the last week of November is like the first week of the German Christmas markets. And I was like, so guess who's not going to Germany? Great. Because it'll be more expensive.
You never get to go anywhere.
I never get to go anywhere. It'll be more expensive and more chaotic. And then the reason this is all relevant is because I was talking to someone at work about it. And they went, oh, yeah, Christmas markets, so that's fun. And I went, no, I don't want to do that. And he's like, why do you want to go to Christmas markets? And I went, I'm just not a Christmas person. I'm a spoopy person. And he's like, well, just don't be a spoopy person for me. And I was like, I can't.
Can't do that.
It's DNA.
Yeah.
I'm just a spoopy person. I can't help it. I'm not anti-Christmas. I'm just, Christmas neutral.
It's like asking you to switch off part of your personality.
Like throw out half of the things in my house at least. No.
No,
I'm not doing that.
It's not possible.
It's a big no from me. But I was just like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do about it. I feel like I wanted to go to the Omnipolo church. So I'm like, that's a big maybe. Maybe go to Sweden. But then it's also going to be big cold. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out.
Very cold in Sweden.
But it needs to be somewhere where I can wear my spoopy clothes and not be at Christmas markets. Maybe.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Today's episode, why are we being spoopy? Why are we being spoopy, Joe?
Because it's Halloween this week, which is our favourite time of year.
I love Halloween so much. But I just like the time of year. I just love, if I could have summer weather and warmth.
Your colours.
Yeah, if I could have summer warmth and sunshine and, light for the whole day, but autumnal vibes for everything else.
To be fair,
I'd be pleased.
yesterday we had really weird weather.
So
was it so warm?
Humid.
Yeah. I was like, why is it so weirdly warm? And then we had a massive storm here, and it all just
we
went away.
didn't. We didn't have a massive storm, but it was
weirdly warm.
Humid AF.
Yeah.
Weirdly warm. Rick looked outside, went, oh, it looks like it's going to be cold. Walked outside and went, oh, it's warm. He was very confused.
Weird. It's very weird. I was like, oh God, this is global warming really happening. Like, this is climate change. What's happening?
Did work out though. This is so completely irrelevant to all of this, but I guess in the theme of supernatural, weird and wonderful, whatever.
Yes.
I was on the phone with I was on a work call. When I say I was on the phone, I was on a work call with somebody I work with, and we were talking about like the aurora borealis and how it's like, I was like, I said, I just have a side question. Like, I feel like I'm the only person that is worried about how frequent this is.
Well,
I was like, is anybody else worried?
It's so frequent, but I keep missing it every time. Like,
but I mean, there's nothing really to see with the naked eye, though. So it's not like you're not really missing it. You're just, But I was like saying, I feel like we should all be like bothered about this, but everyone's just really happy.
It's not supposed to be this far south, right?
Well, that's what it's like. It's weird, right? And like, there's a lot of like the electromagnetic fields, or like these storms are happening so much. Like, no one else is really bothered. And then, thankfully, this guy knows so much about science, and he's like, he's a tech guy, but he clearly knows about science. And he was like, oh, that's actually really explainable. He's like, I felt the same way you did. And then I looked at it, and it's actually really explainable. And he was explaining about how, like, I guess the US has only recently started measuring the electromagnetic fields and stuff like that. So we didn't historically have all these people saying, oh yeah, the electromagnetic fields are super high now. You should be able to see. Someone's going to listen to this and be like, everything you've just said is wrong.
It's wrong.
But the gist that I got out of it,
podcast.
Not a women's
Maybe we are today.
star, like, I don't know, but a woman's view of the constellations. I don't know. I like science. My brain's not cut out for science. But what I took away from that conversation was that the US have only just like started measuring it, so we're only just starting to hear more like, oh, it's high levels of the electromagnetic fields or whatever it is. And obviously, because you can't see it with the naked eye, to be fair, this is what I pieced together myself, is like, cameras have gotten better, especially the night mode.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't really see it that well with the naked eye. So, like, this could have been happening for so long, but none of us have just thought to go out and look at the sky at 11 o'clock at night and take a photo and go, oh, wow, that's pretty. Like, that doesn't tend to be what we do.
That sounds like the truth, so I'm going to believe that.
Yeah. Well, so he didn't say that part. He just said about how it was only just starting to be measured. Yeah. And then he said something about like every 11 years, the sun goes through some cycle of like solar flare thing. This is where my brain's like, oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know. Something about solar flares. I was like, yeah, got you. Solar things, like solar flares.
We are having a lot of solar flares right now. I was talking the other day.
But that's because we're in the 11th year of its cycle, baby. So that's what it is. And I think that from what I gathered from the conversation I had, these are science. I'm very good. I should put my glasses on, but I've put them away. But all these things together are why we're seeing the aurora borealis so much, the northern lights so much more. But obviously we, 11 years ago, we weren't just like, oh, it's about 11:53. It's time for me to go outside in my pajamas and take a photo of the sky at the exact right time of the year. Like, obviously. So that made me feel more comfortable, because he did tell me some scarier things about electromagnetic fields and storms and everything. And he's like, oh yeah, like, because they measure it, because things can just like catch on fire. And I was like, oh, cool.
Oh, I have a hops thing about that.
Oh, I mean, this is not spoopy, but I want to know. Tell me.
This actually works with the actual subject of our podcast. The overarching
spoopy themes.
Of our podcast. So a hop warehouse in Yakima recently burnt down. So like the whole warehouse.
Was it ghouls? Ghosts?
No, it was the hops. So as the hops are like hops can spontaneously combust.
Oh my god, that's insane.
They've got oils in them, right? And if you've packed them really close together and it's too warm, they will spontaneously combust. So, and like hop farms and stuff, they know this. They're aware that this is a thing, and you have to like keep them at the right temperature and like check them and make sure they're well ventilated.
I am shocked.
There's not like that. That's what you have to dry them quickly and to the right moisture contents and things like this. it's a whole storage handling thing with hops, so you have to make sure that they don't spontaneously combust. And it's happened on a farm. Their like barn with them in burnt down, and a warehouse full of hops very recently burnt down because they obviously weren't checking it properly and they spontaneously combusted.
That is insane. I don't.
I think
honestly,
don't
that's
quite-
blown
I-
my that's blown my effing mind. Are you going to
Don't
do me though
quote
that that's what
me.
you took away from that conversation?
Like, don't quote me, but I believe we think that the warehouse that burnt down is about £1 million worth of hops.
I thought you were going to say like 1 billion years old, and I was like,
No,
oh,
like
and,
like
and I was about
weight.
to be like, yes, and then I was like, oh no, because it couldn't physically.
Like weight wise, about £1 million worth of
Jeez, physical weight. That's a lot of hops.
Mm-hmm.
Holy moly! Oh
Yeah,
my
so,
god!
they're going to be
Yikes
checking
on
their,
bikes.
their,
That is
practices.
insane.
Yeah, madness. And I was reading, it's
I like
because it's on our
that.
work channels and stuff, and I was reading, and I was like, I feel like we have checks in place, like, because it wasn't one of our warehouses, I hasten to add, it was somebody else's. And I was like, the industry has checks in place for this, right? Like, because I know, I don't deal with that side of it because it's like before they come through it's before the hops come through processing and stuff, so I don't have a huge amount to deal with that, but I know that hops can spontaneously combust, so like we have checks in place, like the industry should have checks in place for that, right? So something fell down.
I didn't know anything
quite
about
badly
this
there. Yeah,
and this has just blown my mind, and now I get like spontaneous.
that's why I shared this, because I thought you'd enjoy that.
Yeah, no, I
I
like
thought you'd enjoy
that.
that. It wasn't because of ghosts, it was because hops can spontaneously combust.
But also, or a ghost lit a match. We'll never know.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. We'll never know.
Spooky episode.
Spooky episode. I apologize in advance because this all. I mean, I don't take our listeners to be stupid.
No.
They are intelligent. I would say top 10% of intelligence, really, if I'm being honest with everyone. So for today we were gonna do like pumpkin spice, and then we were like, oh no, but we started talking about ideas, and then it just rolled into like, oh, we could just do a spooky episode. So admittedly, I'm not going to lie to you, I kind of threw an outline together of what we could talk. So if you don't like today's content, I mean, that's on you. But also,
let us
I don't blame you.
We won't do it again.
Wink. I'll never throw an episode together like last minute ever again if you don't like this. But I think hopefully today should be a bit fun talking about spooky things.
Yeah.
Or you might just be really bored, and if this is not your jam, or you get spookified easy, that's okay. There's other episodes.
You can skip this episode.
You can skip it.
This is your warning right now, listeners.
It's not. I say it's like it's going to be so scary. Like you're not going to be able to contain yourselves. After I'm just like
there might be some talk about ghosts. There might be some talk about hauntings. We're warning you now. If this is your trigger warning, if that's a problem for you, stop listening now.
But I'm not going to pretend I'm going to read it in like a really. Like, I'm just going to read it normally how I would normally read it. Like, I'm not going to read it in like a very... So I listened to this awesome podcast called This Paranormal Life, and it's a comedy podcast, and the guys on it are like, they are so funny. It's like one of those podcasts that I will literally walk down the road with headphones on, audibly laughing out loud. People obviously think I'm insane. But I will listen to that, and it's like they put so much like the voice action they do in that for like reading out some of it's basically they'll go like, here's a paranormal story, let me tell you about it, and then we just like they'll go, oh, we're gonna decide now if we think it's actually paranormal or not. But like the quality and effort they put into the voice acting of it, I'm not going to do that. So if you listen to that, don't expect that here, because that is not happening. But I would
Don't set the bar too high, listeners.
Well, I would like to ask Kit and Rory from This Paranormal Life to do some episodes involving beer-related haunting stuff. So, I mean, maybe I'll give them some ideas today, and they could do better voice acting than I could ever do in my life. But that's a starting point. Be a trigger warning for all the spooky as hell stuff that's going to happen in this episode, and maybe not spooky stuff. So
we just want to check. So, shall we begin, as we are a beer podcast, with what we are drinking?
Oh shit, we are a beer podcast.
We've tried to be a bit spooky with the things that we're drinking.
But like again, we decided this like quite
like
quite
2 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, because we just went, oh, that would actually be way better. Let's do that.
That'd be cool.
And then it was kind of like what we had to hand. So, Joe, this is great. This is a great fridge buster. What did you have in your fridge as your beer number one?
So I have double midnight Oregon Trail.
Oh, I see what you did there.
It's midnight. Hey. Midnight is, it's the witching hour. It's spooky.
That's the hot combusting hour. This is what's happening.
This is a West Coast double black IPA, 8% from the Bipper Kings. Elusive. Bipper comeback. All about that Bipper life.
I was going to say, is that really like, is it really a comeback anymore though, if people accept that it's just like, it's here?
We're still going to do it. But,
We're still going to do it. It's a great hashtag.
That's what I'm drinking, and it is delightful.
I have got a New England Pale Ale called Escape, and that is a collaboration between Disruption, The Hive, and Outhouse Brewery. So a bunch of local synergy here. The reason I picked this was because it was one of their John Carpenter series. So obviously, I mean, I'll show you the label. It's a little bit of a spoopy label as well. So yeah, it felt like this was probably a good pick for a spoopy situation. I know that there's a new John Carpenter series that somebody else has done. I don't know if it was still them or if it was somebody else, but the Hive did had it. I can't remember. But yeah, John Carpenter, spoopy.
Nice.
So I thought we'd start off this episode with me telling you about some haunted locations and spooky stories of those haunted locations, but those haunted locations are breweries.
Nice.
Shocking. I know that you were like, whoa, what do you mean? What, aren't you just going to tell me scary stories in general? That's for another day. I feel like I found so many things that I was like, I could talk about this another day, but not quite on topic. Oh, look, you have ghosts in the background of you. What was that?
It's my watch.
Oh, spoopy.
If anyone can tell me how I stop my watch from talking to me when I just fold my arms, that'd be great. Because it does a lot to me.
It knew what we were talking about. It
talks to me. It randomly tells me what the time is. And I'm like, I did not ask you, sir.
You're like, mind you. Not 100%. Right now.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Oh my! I had heart palpitations, and it might have been from the 2 cups of coffee that I had back to back today, which also brought a sense of dread and anxiety. Or it could have been that I'm going down a spoopy trail. Your watch went off, and I went and it was like the fuse on a powder keg. I was like, oh no!
This is why we have to have trigger warnings. You see,
for me. So I thought I would read you. So I found some different articles that had like blurbs about these different breweries that I picked out. So I thought I could read you. I did actually go and have to do all this manual searching by myself and pull out the articles. I didn't, I'll be very clear, I'll give full credit to these articles that I pulled the blurbs from because I did not have enough time to rewrite them in a way. I didn't have enough time to research across multiple things to write my own.
Yeah.
So I've just taken the best blurbs from the best articles. But I did then utilize ChatGPT to give me some examples of first-hand experiences that were reported from these places. We'll find out how good that is. Like, if it weren't being the same thing.
Or is ChatGPT making stuff up again? Because they like to make stuff
Well, it's Copilot. No. Don't do ChatGPT dirty. It's Copilot that likes to do people dirty. But I thought I'll give you the story. I will give you some ChatGPT examples of first-hand encounters, which obviously if ChatGPT is telling me about it, it's true. We take all of our AI feedback with no pinches of salt because it is 100% accurate.
AI overlords.
There's a cheers for you. Thank you. I'll read those to you. And then I'll maybe after each one, I'll give you some time to say do you think that's actually haunted? What are your thoughts? So, because I need time to drink my beer. So, no one wants to hear me talk all the time. I don't even want to hear me talk all the time. So, location number 1. I'm going to butcher these names because some of these are really obscure names. They're not even, they're American. It's not even. of places that I was like, I have to even take out the name of this location. Not a clue. But the first one is a Colorado brewery called Wynkoop Brewery. That's how I expect it to pronounce. WYNKOOP Brewery.
Yeah.
I got this one on a website called Listverse. There was a Listverse, and there was an article called 10 Hauntings at Breweries, Distilleries, and Vineyards. So this was one of the breweries mentioned. I'll read you the blurb. The Wynkoop Brewery finds itself operating out of a 125-year-old building filled with old, turn-of-the-century architecture and even a few hidden tunnels. One would have been mistaken for thinking the original building was a speakeasy. However, the building was originally a simple mercantile that connected the tunnels to the train station in order to move supplies. Though the building lacks prohibition, chicanery. I love that word, chicanery. Oh, well, I like that. That's fun. That's the first time I've ever said that. I like it. I got what it was going with from the context clues and how it was spelled. Love it. It certainly doesn't lack in spirits. Strange noises, apparitions, and ethereal wandering hands. Ooh, creepy. Haunt those who venture into the basement. Yeah, in lots of different ways. Don't like it. See, he doesn't like it either. Doesn't like it either. A lot of men even report getting their legs squeezed in the men's bathroom. Those wandering hands do not like.
Legs squeezed in the men's bathroom.
Yeah, that is oddly specific. That's oddly specific and weird. I don't like it. It makes me feel uncomfortable already. Though the main brewery floor also has its share of hauntings, namely from the ghost of a lady dressed in red, the proprietors of Denver's first craft brewery have often invited paranormal investigators and even started hosting tours for the public. What do you think of that so far before I give you anything else?
That's very spooky.
Spooky? Do you feel like, okay. I think the thing that stands out for me is the squeezing of the men's legs in
the toilets. Like...
Oh, that's not okay. But I like that. So it said like the ethereal wandering hands, and I was like, oh, sounds creepy, but I'm sure that's just a misinterpretation or something.
Right?
And then they're like, oh, and then it's going in the men's room, squeezing legs.
I don't like that. I mean, as women, I'm glad it's in the men's room.
Yeah,
not in the women's room.
But also weird. But on this article, so there's actually a video on this article. I watched a bit, so it's about 5 minutes long, and there's a session. I encourage you to. I'll send you the link. We can put. I feel like we should put the links in the show notes because I'm reading directly from the articles. I really don't want to cease and desist. Please, we'll plug it. But there's a clip that's linked above it as well. That is a spirit box, which I have heard of a spirit box, but I feel like what I heard in this was slightly different to what I was expecting. So what I know of a spirit box is like you would have like a recording and then you would talk to it, and you might not be able to hear anything at the time, but you'd listen back and you'd get the recording of it. Yeah. But this was really weird because it was like static noises, and then they would like talk, and it almost sounded like an old AM/FM radio, and you're scrolling through channels, and it was like different noises were coming of like radio noises. Yeah. And the first example, so it went on for 5 minutes. They asked several questions, but it was like cut. So obviously there was only certain parts where there was like noteworthy things. The first question was, how many are here? And I'm guessing that's like how many ghosts are here. And it was basically like radio static noises of different radio stations. And then all of a sudden it very clearly said 8. And then it asked again, it said, sorry, could you repeat that? How many? And it was like radio noises, blah, blah, blah. And then it was like 8, very clearly again. I was like, oh, I'm like talking about it. I'm like, oh, it's spooky. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to keep watching this because now I'm just curious. And the next question that popped up like in the slew of questions was, does it bother you that we're down here? Because they obviously must have been down in the basement. Yeah. Does it bother you that we're down here? And again, it goes through the static radio noises as if someone's skimming through a radio, finding what works. And it just very clearly went, no. And then after that, it started saying like there was several different things. It was going, hi, hello. Hi. And I was like, oh God. Oh.
No, thank you.
And it was just a bunch of people
Very...
sat, like they were, like
Yeah.
you see all the people in the room, and it was dark because you can't do this kind of thing in the light. And ghosts are obviously allergic to the light; they don't want to come out in the light. And there's all these people just sat round, just like this, where you could see taps, you could see everything, and they were all just sat down there, just like minding their own business. Not minding their own business, obviously, because they clearly were just like there with a purpose, but they weren't touching anything. Everyone's hands were to themselves, everything. And even if this was not real, if you're a skeptic and you're like, not real, fine. The creepiest thing for me was like how it was like radio static and then scrolling through like an old school radio, and then it would be a very clear response. I was like, I didn't even like the sound of the static and the radio noises because I was like, that alone is creepy. I don't like it. What are your thoughts to the spirit box?
I mean, I suppose, like, if you're going to be skeptical about it, let's play devil's advocate.
I like that. Let's go.
It could be recorded. It could just be a recording.
Could be.
Know, it could very well be, you know, they know the timing of the questions, and, you know, it's very easy to fake that.
To be fair as well, it wasn't even somebody's, like, it wasn't a person. It was very clearly like a radio, like it was a robotic, like 8. It wasn't, it was very clearly like a set thing that could, so to play devil's advocate, absolutely, it
like,
could be something that's pre-recorded.
You could totally pre-record that, like, but also that sounds proper scary. Like, no thank you.
But I also feel like, I think for me, in the video as well, like none of them were freaking out. I think I would have been like, what? Like, why is not? Like, I was like, why aren't you bothered?
Why is that not weirding you out? Exactly.
Which I kind of feel like, to play devil's advocate to your devil's advocate. Yeah, they could have been like, that could have been something that they staged, but then like none of them seemed bothered. I don't know who they were. I don't know if these were like ghost hunters or if they were like staff members or whatever. But like, they didn't seem bothered about it, which almost for me made it more convincing. Because I will go in as like a skeptic most of the time anyways. It's like there's room for belief, there's room for being skeptical. But it almost made me believe because of the fact that they weren't bothered. They were just like, okay, like ask it another question. I didn't see any of them like freak out. They were all just like, okay, cool, next question. I was like, wow.
How are you not weirded out by that? No, thank you.
So I encourage you to watch it and make up your own mind. But
that's where we're at. Far too much imagination for this sort of thing. Like
to watch the video or
like anything. Like I like spooky things, but I have to be in the right mindset. And like I started watching. I've watched the whole of the of American Horror Story Coven.
Oh right, okay.
I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go back and watch the other series because that was interesting. It was a good series. So I'm going to start from the beginning. Watch American Horror Story, like the house one. I can't remember what it is.
The first. It was the first one.
Whatever the first one is.
The weird kinky one. Yeah.
Yeah. And
no, I mean they're all kind of weird kinky ones, aren't they?
They're all kind of weird. Like this. Yeah. It was the house one, and I started watching that, and I haven't finished it because Gordon doesn't want to watch it. He doesn't want to watch that sort of thing. So I end up having to watch it at night when he's in bed and I'm downstairs on my own. And I was like, yeah, no. I'm freaking myself out just watching this.
It's weird because I like spooky things. I don't like horror movies though, really. Only because I don't like jump scares. I think I like psychological movie. I like
things where
thrillers.
It's clever. I like things where it's clever. I don't like really like gory, like gore for gore's sake. Like there's got to be reasons for it. Like I like the original Scream movies because they were actually clever. Like as silly as it is as well. Like the original, like based around the rules of horror movies and things like that. Like I thought that was clever.
I feel like I can take or leave gore. Gore is like something I can take or leave it. I'm not really fast. I don't like gore just for the sake of gore. I think if there's like a purpose behind it, I'm like,
Saw,
okay, like I'm not squeamish.
Like I'm not into that.
I'm not squeamish like that. I'm not really that fast. I'm like, okay, fine. I think the one thing I don't mind ghost movies. I don't mind stuff like that. What I don't like is jump scares. And like what I find with a lot of these possession films and ghost films and stuff like that is it's all just cheap jump scares. And it's like, the thing is, it's not a lasting, like I don't go to bed and then go, oh my God, that really stuck with me. I think the only thing that I could say that's not a jump scare, the only thing that I think I've ever actually been probably freaked out by that has had like I've turned the movie off and been like, oh, I didn't like that, was the original Exorcist, because I don't like the contortion situation, which is like spoiler alert for a very old film.
If you've never seen it.
But it's the back, like upside down back bend situation down the stairs. I was like, don't like that. I think contortion is the only thing that actually freaks me out. But like blood and gore, I'm like, yeah, that's cool, whatever. It's just jump scares that I'm like, nah, not a fan of. But what I will tell you, the best show ever, but you probably in that situation, if you've got an active imagination, would hate it. If you've not watched it already, but listeners, please do, Fall of the House of Usher. Oh my God, one of the most phenomenal
I mean, I'll probably watch
shows.
that because I do want to watch it because it's Edgar Allan Poe. So.
Yeah, but so they've like adapted that.
Yeah.
But it is the most amazingly well done, edge of your seat, suspenseful, because there's jump scares in it, but you never know when it's going to be a jump scare and when it's going to be a bluff. So I sat there, hands like over my eyes, but like also still looking, because I was like, I want to know. But like I'd brace myself for a jump scare, and you'd be like, something's going to happen. This is the right moment for it. And then it would be like, yeah, and it's done. And it's just, it gets into your head in this most psychological, twisted way that you're like, oh. So easily one of the best horror, quote unquote, psychological, messed up, like, but so well done.
Yeah.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. But yeah, anyways, I was such a tangent, but I was like, such a good show. So when asking ChatGPT to collate some first-hand experiences, they've said there's a ghostly patron. So a lot of these, I think they've just like, ChatGPT's like summarized it at a high level and then given a story. So ghostly patrons, employees have reported seeing an apparition of a man sitting at the bar, often dressed in old-fashioned clothing, seemingly waiting for a drink. Staff member claims he disappears if approached, but his presence is unmistakable, especially late at night after closing. So that's one thing. You've got moving objects in cold spots, but that feels like that's pretty standard. They've got elevator experiences. Several people have experienced the elevator behaving strangely, such as opening and closing by itself or going to random floors without anyone pressing a button. Some staff members believe this to be the work of a playful spirit that likes to mess with visitors.
This is from the same brewery?
Same brewery, yep.
Goodness me.
Yep. Disembodied footsteps and voices, but again, that feels like part of the course. Cellar shadows, again, that's kind of part of the course, but it does say creepiest stories come from the basement. Employees have reported seeing shadowy figures out of the corner of their eye, but that feels like already your paranoia sets in when you go into some of those things. So you see things maybe to play devil's advocate that aren't there. But they did say a few of them claimed to have caught a glimpse of a woman dressed in Victorian clothing lingering near the storage area. That's one of those you run, like, you get what you need and then you run all the way back upstairs. Look, Phelan's terrified.
Phelan's, we've scared Phelan.
Did I scare you awake, my baby? Yeah. Thoughts on this place. Would you want to go there, yes or no? Would you want to go there by yourself at night? Yes or no?
No.
No.
No, I would not.
Would you want to go on their ghost tour?
Maybe.
I think maybe after watching that video of the spirit box, my answer's no.
Probably not. I'll go during the day.
I'll go to like, let's go on ghost tours where it's like the like, you know, nothing's actually spoopy, or just like I'll see old sites of murders or something like that. But like, if you're showing me the spirit box has made talking stuff, I'm like, no, I'm not.
No, thank you.
All right, let's move on to the second place. All right, location number 2, Moon River Brewing in Georgia. Came from the exact same article. And the blurb they give is, nestled up in the border of South Carolina and the Atlantic Ocean lies the idyllic Georgian metropolis of Savannah. The seaside city is the site of the Moon River Brewing Company, which just so happens to be the site of a haunting. Yay! Though the building's stint as a beer brewery only began in 1999, the building first started its life as a hotel in 1821. In 1851, the building even housed a live lion exhibition, if that's any indicator of how high class the establishment endeavoured to become. A live lion exhibit.
I mean, they have tigers in Las Vegas, so...
Yeah, but that just feels like... In not 1851 as well. Like, what is your... That seems risky business. Though a far cry from a big cat enclosure, the brewery does offer a ghost tour in contemporary times. And indeed, the establishment boasts of a few examples of paranormal activity, including the ghost of an unlucky gambler getting shot by a particularly accurate doctor, as well as the ghosts of yellow fever victims who perished during the building's temporary stint as a hospital. A spirit colloquially named Toby is even said to brush up against and even push people who visit the brewery. Initial thoughts?
Interesting. I think, your problem there is that it was a hospital and people died there.
Yeah, it's a big no, isn't it?
Yes, big no.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way that could be worse is if it's on an Indian burial ground, right?
This one's not, so we'll take that with a positive spin. So some of the summaries of the first-hand experiences, you've got a lady in white. One of the most frequently reported experience is the lady in white. Patrons and staff alike have seen a woman dressed in flowing white dress wandering the building, especially on the staircase and in the upper floors, which are now closed to the public. Witnesses say she appears disoriented or sad, and she vanishes if anyone tries to approach. Yeah, she's sad. She doesn't want to talk to you.
Yeah, she doesn't want to talk to you people. Leave her alone.
She's like, I'm busy grieving.
Yeah.
The shadow of a man in a basement. The basement is one of the most active paranormal spots with sightings of a shadowy figure that employees refer to as Toby. That sounds like a way too fun of a name for a ghost.
Random, like he's colloquially known as Toby. That's
Toby.
just his name,
Just
people. You've named him Toby.
They're like, yeah, his name's Toby. The Shadow Man has been seen lurking in dark corners, and some people report
Toby.
Shadow Man is way worse than Toby.
That's a way worse name than Toby.
Way worse. They reported feeling an intense set of dread or unease when they sense his presence. Toby is known to be territorial. Yeah, it's because you named him Toby.
Because you named him Toby, and he's going to shove you.
Yeah, Toby is known to be territorial, especially with men. What is with like men and ghosts? They just aren't clearly getting along. They're either like loving or fighting.
Yeah.
There are stories of people being pushed or scratched when they venture into the basement. Do not like that.
Don't go in the basement. This is just don't do it.
Never go to the basement.
No.
There's invisible touching and tugging.
Oh God.
Again, it's always the touching and tugging. I don't think I like that. But that also feels a bit like invisible touching and stuff. Like that kind of feels like you're like, oh, who's touched me? And then you turn around like, it's a ghost. So that's a bit fine. You probably think that if you're going someplace that's haunted, to play devil's advocate, part of you probably does go, oh, I felt something. But it's just like an itch, like a normal itch or something. And you're like, oh, it's a ghost. But apparently there is poltergeist activity. So the staff had frequently had to deal with objects moving on their own, particularly glasses that seem to slide across tables or fall off shelves with no apparent cause. Some employees claim that when they close up, they'll find chairs or silverware moved around despite leaving everything neatly organised. I don't think that really qualifies as a poltergeist, though.
No. Like, that just means you're forgetful. And also put your shelves up better.
or like there's a bit of a tilt in the room that you weren't aware of or something. That could be explained.
Yeah.
Third floor apparition, potentially not though. Some employees who ventured up have seen a male apparition believed to be a man killed during the fight at the building's hotel days. Witnesses described him as angry with intense eyes, and his presence is often accompanied by a drop in temperature and an overwhelming sense of hostility. It's always a drop in temperature, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then you got your bog standard disembodied voices and footsteps. So I kind of take that with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
Thought how
Especially
do we,
if you've been drinking a bit.
Exactly.
Right.
How do we feel about Moon River Brewing then in Georgia?
I feel like I'd visit there. Not on my own at night. But...
I feel like I'd visit, and I feel like I'd maybe
I feel like I'd stay away from the basement.
That's a rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Full stop, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Never go to the basement.
No.
All right. Next up, we've got the Phoenix Brewing Company in Ohio, and this came from thecraftbeer.com, an article called "Enjoy Both Sips, Spooks at These Haunted Breweries." So, This one, the blurb is, you wouldn't expect to find a brewery housed in an old mortuary, but that's exactly where the Phoenix Brewing Company found its home in Mansfield, Ohio. How are you feeling
fun.
about this already?
I like this. I like
Me
this
too. I read that and I should have been like, big no, but I was like,
Yeah.
awesome.
This sounds good. I like this one.
Love it. The Charles Schroer Mortuary opened in 1914 as both a mortuary and a funeral parlour. Exactly a century later, in 2014, the Phoenix Brewing Company opened its doors after the building sat vacant for 70 years. So we've got an old mortuary / funeral parlour that sat dormant for 70 years. And then they're like, let's make it a brewery.
Let's put a brewery in it. That sounds like a good idea.
I already am loving it.
Yep.
Don't know about you.
Like, is the decor appropriate?
I don't know. I haven't actually Googled photos, but I saw some of the label art, and the label art looked apt. So that's good.
Okay, good.
The 5-barrel pilot brewing system is located in what once was the embalming and preparation room. During construction to open the brewery, a few bones were discovered under the floor's concrete and turned into the police.
Whoops. Like, where did they come from? Like, we just
like,
dropped a few bones, chucked them in the floor. Like...
But this is not just a like, oh, there was a mishap. Well, do that. Like, that's dodgy dealings. Yeah, I bet that's mafia. I bet that's mafia of like, we're going to use this as a means to get rid of the bodies. Oh, what was it? Was it Ozarks where they buy a crematorium so that they can like cremate the people they've killed, and then they're like, oh, but it's cool because it's our business. That's what it sounds like is going on there. Just saying. In honor of the departed, the Phoenix Brewing Company decided to name a series of wheat beers after them. John Doe is the standard American wheat, while Jane Doe, Barb Doe, and Juan Doe are infused with raspberry, rhubarb, and lime. That feels
nice. I like those.
That's an interesting combination. Okay. So Jane Doe is the raspberry, Barb Doe is the rhubarb. That feels right. And Juan Doe is the lime. So that
the lime
feels a bit on the nose, but okay. Several other house beers reflect the history of the building. In 8 years that the brewery have been open, both customers and staff have reported several unusual occurrences. Guests have said they felt someone brush up against them or bump into their chair, only to find no one there. Many paranormal enthusiasts have discovered orbs and photos taken through the building. Professional ghost hunters have recorded EMF, electric and magnetic field activity, and voices. One even claimed to connect with a male spirit, stating that the entity does not like beer, but is happy to have people in the building again. I hate beer, but I'm happy for company, so you may stay.
Yeah.
How many spirits could be in the building is unclear, but one is known for certain: Charles Schroer. The original owner and operator of the mortuary was diagnosed with a terminal illness. Instead of waiting for the inevitable, he chose to take his own life inside the building. Add that to the many people who came through the building after their earthly lives ended, and there was bound to be lingering spirits. To maximize customers' interest in the haunted history, the Phoenix Brewing Company offers ghost hunts by appointment. Carmona McFarlane, head of creative and marketing, admits being haunted is an attraction. It does bring in new customers, especially around Halloween. Many people travel to the nearby Ohio State Reformatory and often visit other haunted locations like the brewery while in Mansfield. Knowing that last part, does that change how you feel at all?
No, I think it's still good. I'll go there.
So I feel like I would go for the quirk because I think it's a cool location, but I will say that does feel a little bit like it's diminished its actual haunted value by being like, admittedly, let's be real, being haunted's great because people actually want to come here and do haunts. So I get it. I don't begrudge them for it. I think it's a smart move. I would definitely go not for the ghost just because that's a cool location and a cool backstory. So there's only two things that I really thought stood out other than the standard, like, I felt like I was watched and there were noises and someone pushed me, like that kind of stuff. It was a bit cold that day.
You're drunk, go home.
Like if my house has taught me nothing, it's that it could be blistering outside and I'll still be cold. So maybe there's ghosts in here. I don't know, but thank you. It helps in summer. So the two things that came up were phantom voices, which again, that sort of is the same, but why I kept this one is because they say employees and patrons alike have heard voices often sounding like murmurs or faint conversations, especially near the old embalming room. Some have even heard their names whispered by an unknown voice when no one else was nearby.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's weird. That's a weird one. That's why I kept that in, because I was like, murmurs. Yeah, okay, fine. Hearing your name whispered by an unknown voice. Spoopy AF. The other one is there's a playful spirit. So one of the more active spirits is known for playing tricks on staff members, objects frequently being moved, only turned up in strange places or where they were originally left, bar glasses and silverware reportedly sliding off tables by themselves, and sometimes that startles the guests. Thoughts on that one?
I would visit that one. That one sounds fun.
That one does sound a bit fun, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The next one, I was going to say, let's see. I've got a few of them, but I'll hold fire on all of them. Let me find a really good one. I've got about 3 more, but which one could be a good one? All right, here we go. Here's a good one. Saranac Brewing, which is also known as FX Matt Brewery. There's a few names that it goes by. Again, it's the enjoy both sips and spooks of these haunted locations. That's the same article. With over 120 years of history, it's no surprise that Saranac Brewery has some spooky stories of its own to tell. In 1888, Francis Xavier Matt established West End Brewing Company in Utica, New York. Over the years, it's held many names, including Matt Brewing Company and eventually Saranac, a Native American term meaning cluster of stars. That's lovely, isn't it?
I think I've had a pumpkin beer from Saranac.
It sounded familiar, so I was like, this is good. Yeah. It's a good start. During Prohibition, the brewery was known for its speakeasy and for serving the first legal beer after Prohibition was repealed. Visitors to the brewery can step inside the former speakeasy on a tour of Saranac. Also on that tour is the portrait gallery containing pictures of multiple generations of the Matt family. Staff members and customers alike report feeling uneasy while walking through the hallway, which is still decorated in the early 1900s style.
Oh.
Late night and overnight staff also report hearing strange sounds and see figures and shadows when no one else is in the building. Some workers are known to run through the passageway after turning off the light at night. I'm guessing that's because it's spoopy and they don't want to get caught there.
Like, why are you turning the light off before you're at the end where you're going to get out?
I guess it's because the light switches on one side and then you probably have to go through the other thing. So you're probably like, and then you do a runner.
Put some more wiring in so that you can put a light switch in. Come on.
It's still decorated like the early 1900s.
That doesn't sound like good health and safety to me.
Sounds like a you problem, guys. The reason I picked this one is because the ChatGPT summary that's out of the norm, what I quite liked was the first one was the ghostly brewer. So one of the most commonly reported apparitions is believed to be the spirit of a former brewer who worked there decades ago. Employees have reported seeing a man in old-fashioned work clothes moving around the brewery area, only for him to vanish when approached. Some have even smelled a faint scent of beer in areas that haven't been used for brewing in years, adding to the legend of the ghostly brewer. So
somebody just spilled a beer. Come on.
It's true somewhere. And they're like, who did it? And they're like, it wasn't me.
It was the ghost.
They knocked over a pint or spilled a keg or something. And they're like, it wasn't me.
It wasn't me. It was the ghost.
It was the ghostly brewer named Toby.
Yeah. Toby.
The other one was
just named Toby now.
The other one was the figure in the tasting room. So patrons and employees alike have reported seeing a shadowy figure lurking in the tasting room, often appearing out of the corner of their eye. Some guests have felt a tap on the shoulder while seated, only to turn around and find no one there. The figure vanishes if you look at it directly, leaving those who see it lingering with a sense of dread. That's the way to do it if you're going to haunt, though, isn't it? It's like...
But also, why aren't you giving this poor ghost some beer? That's what they obviously want.
So they're there. That's why they're in the tasting room. That's why they're in the tasting room.
They want some beer. Leave them a little offering of beer. They'll leave you alone. Come on. This is basic.
I agree. I absolutely agree. But yeah, that was there's a bunch more, but I won't read through all of those. We don't have enough beer for that. But I just thought I'd highlight some of them that were really great. Maybe you'll save the next for another time. If we've got time left at the end of the pumpkin spice episode, maybe I'll read the rest of them. So
those last two I want to visit.
I really want to visit the mortuary one. I think it's really cool. The problem is as well, so there was one on the list that was a UK one, but when I was trying to find more UK ones, so I didn't read the UK one, I'll save that for another time, but all the ones were pubs. It was all just haunted pubs.
I was
Like, we
gonna
don't
say,
have
I feel
haunted
like
breweries, we have haunted pubs.
we've got a lot of pubs because our pubs are very old.
It's like, well, every pub is a haunted pub, though, innit?
Yeah.
Like, let's be real. There's every pub's like, oh, it's haunted. Like, go to York.
Yeah.
You sneeze and you're at a haunted pub. I've done the ghost tour in York, and it's like, this one's haunted, this one's haunted, this one's definitely super haunted. I had dinner. What I will say, York, great, love it. One of my favourite places in the UK.
Yep.
If you want to go to haunted places, have at it. But just don't have dinner at the Golden Fleece. Just get a drink at the Golden Fleece. I had dinner there. It's just basically like a Wetherspoon. Like, you don't need to have dinner at the Golden Fleece. You don't need roast. You could just go and get a drink and then leave. And have your
Tori's
supernatural experience. Top York tips. Don't bother going into the... I took my parents and I was like, go in this haunted pub, blah. It was just I'm not saying it's not haunted, but what I'm saying is the quality of food, if you're gonna... That's, for me, that scared me, because the type of food that when I go out for a meal, I'm just not a big pub meal person. So for me, that was what was scary. Have a drink. You're fine. You're absolutely fine.
Brilliant.
But yeah, I will say as well, before we have our next drink, hilariously though, as I was trying to find haunted breweries, one thing came up that said, have a drink at this. Like, the byline of it was, let me see if I can find it. So I started reading the horror-themed London brewery Where, and as I was scrolling down, it looked very familiar.
Yeah.
Very familiar. I was like, oh, that neon colour looks familiar. Who do you think it was?
Neon colour?
There's lots of neon colours around. Horror-themed London brewery.
Oh, werewolf.
Before I even made it to the second line, you can sip beers on an old ghost train. And I went, oh, shit.
It's werewolf.
Before I even got to that line, I went, oh, that's definitely werewolf. I hadn't realised when I clicked on it. Great. So I feel like we can share that link as well.
Highly recommend werewolf.
And they've got their pumpkin beer out. The pumpkin beer's out now.
Halloween's out. If you're watching the video, it's above. I've got an empty can of it above my head.
It's great.
Favourite.
I love it every time.
UK pumpkin beers.
Agree. But I feel like we can share this article just for anyone that doesn't know werewolf for some reason. But it's great.
Yeah.
But it made me chuckle because I was like, ha ha ha. I was looking for haunted places and you've given me that's cool. I'll have it. So yeah. Shall we move on to our second beer and then we can play another fun game that I've created?
Let's. So what's your second beer?
My second beer is Closet Brewing Project's Beyond the Pale, which is a 7% black IPA, and it's got a Ouija board on it. So
black IPA is for the day.
Yeah, hilariously, I feel like I've got so many Ouija board themed things, but I've seen this meme going around recently, which is like, I love spoopy things, but the second you take a Ouija board out, I'm out. And that's how I feel, because I'm like, oh, love the aesthetic of it. I've got these really great, I've got a great tray that's on my table that has all of our stuff. There's a pillow set and stuff, but I'm like, if you took a Ouija board, I'd be like, keep that away from me. I don't need that.
Nothing good comes out of a Ouija board.
Ever.
No.
What's your beer?
I have got Sasquatch's Vineyard.
I love that. Cryptid.
Little Sasquatch with a vineyard in the background.
I love that so much.
A wine-infused oak-aged stout from 903 Brewers.
Oh, I feel done dirty that I don't even get to try that. That sounds amazing. Absolutely
it smells amazing. It's got grape must in it.
Oh, I'm so jealous. Absolutely jealous.
Ooh. She boozy too. 10.5%. Okay, now.
Mine doesn't even taste 7%. Mine tastes so drinkable. Very, very heavily roasty.
I nearly pulled that one out.
Lovely.
I've got it in the fridge. I nearly pulled it out, but I picked these ones instead.
Well, the difficulty is I was worried because I've got a few Closet Brewing Project ones that I was like, they all have what could be a Halloween theme to it. I've got a bunch of them. That when I bought them, it was when they were having the charity event for Trans Visibility Day, and it was like
Yep.
the 100% of their profits going to charity and stuff. And I was like, well, great. I wanted to get some of their beers anyway, so and I
Same.
wanted one of their jumpers, and I was like, well, actually, this has pushed me over the edge to buying the jumper anyways, because I was like, I know it's all going to charity, so this is great. And this is one of the ones I bought, and there was a few, and I was going, oh my god, what do I have that's spooky? I only know that I've got at least 3 closet brewings that I could use. It only worked out that I happen to have other stuff as well, because I tried to diversify my portfolio. So
yeah,
but I really I'm enjoying this, and I can't wait for you to enjoy it as well. So cheers.
I shall. Cheers.
I'm jealous that you've got that though, because that sounds amazing. So I thought we could play a bit of a game ish, which is called Trick or Treat. So I asked ChatGPT and Copilot. I like to diversify that portfolio, as I said. So I asked them both to come up with 5 spooky Halloween. So 5 spooky craft beer cocktails that you could serve at a Halloween party. And then I did it twice in one, because I sort of asked the question in a weird way the first time. So I've got more than 10. But some of them overlapped. They've given it a name and ingredients, and I want to know, is this something that you think would be a trick? It's just a cruel trick to serve your party goers, or would it be an amazing Halloween treat that you would definitely want to have people know you for making?
Okay.
So I have the first few are twists on classics. Yep. So the first one is a Black Widow Shandy, which combines a dark stout with blackberry syrup, lemon juice, and a splash of soda. How do we feel about that?
That's a treat. I would drink that.
See, that sounds lovely. The only thing I thought was maybe like, oh, I'm not sure, is the lemon. And I get why it's in there for the balance aspect of it. But I think that's the one thing that I was like, oh, I don't know about that. But the next...
Our making of craft beer cocktails has taught you that the unexpected also tastes delicious.
And you need the acidity, so I get it. The next one is Witch's Brew Sangria, which is you basically mix pumpkin ale, spiced rum, American apple cider, which I guess would be our cloudy apple juice, and fresh fruits such as blackberries and apple slices. And it's in an autumnal take on sangria. Trick or treat?
I'd put that one as a trick.
I put that as a treat, because I was like, that sounds excellent. Oh, why is that a trick for you?
It's the apple cider in it, like the cloudy apple juice in it for me.
That's my favorite.
I saw another Witch's Brew Sangria that was red wine on Instagram today, that had cider in it as well, and I was like,
Red wine, I feel like I draw the line at red.
Yeah, that was definitely. I mean, sangria is red wine normally, right?
No, but I wouldn't mix it with like apple cider.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, But yeah,
that's what feels weird.
So a pumpkin spice beer and apple cider.
Yeah, but I can see how those things go together more, because the spices. I'm in. This was a treat for me. I'll have it. I'll try it. We disagreed. Well, Copilot in a lovely bout. They also had the Witch's Brew, which was stout beer, cranberry juice, and a splash of black vodka. I literally wrote next to it, "No idea," in brackets, because I don't. Yeah. And then the garnish.
The vodka's just coloured.
It just said black vodka. Hold your thoughts on that for a second.
Okay.
My initial thoughts were no idea. Then garnished with a slice of blood orange, obviously. So I then went, what the hell is black vodka?
Yeah.
And I Googled it, and it came up with Blavod, the original black vodka made with Katechu herb, which is uniquely dramatic and stylish vodka with a superb clean taste. It's infused with Katechu, the Southeast Asian herb, which is extracted from the bark of an acacia tree. The herb is subtly infused with which produces an elegant, smooth, yet premium tasting vodka with naturally eye-catching black colours like no other. And it's a triple distilled grain vodka.
So it's just vodka with black colouring?
No.
It's not got what flavour has it got?
Vodka flavour?
Yeah, so it's vodka flavour. It's just vodka, but it's coloured black by the herb.
Yeah, but I mean,
So
look,
it's vodka,
I don't know.
cranberry, and stout.
Joe, it says not to be taken lightly on this advert. It says
Okay,
in all caps,
sorry.
not to be taken lightly.
Okay.
Blavod is a clean tasting premium vodka, which is both alluringly dark and exquisitely smooth. So it's a perfect party starter or gift for friends. That's what Amazon's telling me.
Okay.
It does say embrace the dark side with the gremlin. I don't know who the gremlin is because there's literally no mention of that. It's basically it's a cocktail. The gremlin is 25ml Blavod, 15ml Midori, 10ml Chambord. This is the weirdest combination. 10ml Chambord, 25ml lemon juice. You shake it all together and pour it over. I mean, what? I'm confused. I'm not into it because that sounds
and black vodka. I mean, maybe. Anyway, back to the Witch's Brew thing. I mean, stout with a splash of cranberry and some vodka in it. Trick.
Well, it does say no. It's cranberry and a splash of vodka. The black vodka. I think that's just for color. I think the vodka's just for coloring. It's a stout. Yeah,
you don't need to put black vodka in it. Trick.
Okay, I would say trick as well, but I was also intrigued because of the black vodka.
Yeah,
but out of the two of those, I'm definitely going the sangria.
Yeah, same.
Okay, just checking. The next one. Blood orange beer margarita, which is a blend. You blend the orange juice, tequila, and a light wheat beer, which is citrusy and makes for a blood red color. What are your thoughts?
I would drink that. That sounds like a treat.
I thought you'd say this was a treat. For me, I wouldn't say it's a trick, but it is a little bit too simple for me for a Halloween party. Like, I feel like...
But you want simple if you're doing it for a party, because then you can do it in quantity.
Yeah, I don't want to do it in
quantity. Simple yet effective.
Nah, I like to go...
You like to do things on hard mode?
Yeah. Well, if you're not doing it on hard mode, do you even care about your guests, Joe? Do you even care about your guests? But I was just like, it's orange juice, tequila, and a light wheat beer. That felt too easy. It didn't feel like an intriguing enough combination of flavors for me.
Okay.
The Black Magic Mojito combined dark beer with mint leaves, lime juice, and simple syrup muddled together on top of the splash of club soda.
I'd probably drink that. I like a mojito.
I don't normally like mojitos much. Like, I'll have them, but they're not my fave. But I was intrigued about the dark beer with the mint leaves. I was like, how would that work?
Are you worried that it's going to be chocolate, like mint chocolate?
But I like mint chocolate, so I'm not bothered by that. Right. But I'm worried. Like, I'm intrigued. I'm not worried. I'm intrigued.
Okay.
Trick or treat for you, though?
I'll try it.
Okay, I'd agree. Bloody Ale Mary, pale ale, tomato juice, hot sauce, Worcestershire sauce, and lime juice garnished with celery stick and olives. That's a big trick. Like, I'm
big trick.
Trick.
No, thank you.
Bloody Mary is always a trick for me. Not into it.
Not for me.
Not for me. Okay, so now on to the more creative cocktails. So we've got Zombie Brew, which is a tropical IPA, a light rum, pineapple juice, and a few drops of grenadine, so that it creates a layered look.
Trick. I'll drink that. I feel like we've made that. I feel like
you mean treat. You mean treat.
Treat. I mean treat. Sorry, did I say trick?
I was like, you were like trick. I drink it, and I was like, okay. Well, I also appreciate a trick sometimes, but I've 100% made that. Like, I actually. I feel like
you made that like the other week.
100% have made it. So, the next one, Ghoul's Grog, which is mixing a porter, a coffee liqueur, and a hint of vanilla.
Treat. I'd totally drink that.
That feels like that's way too easy.
It does.
It's a treat. Yeah. It's a treat, but that sounds like just an easy combination.
Yeah. You know, things don't have to be complicated to be tasty, right?
No, I know, but I'm just like, I was like, this. I wanted them to give me like these really like weird and wonderful things of like, here's these crazy here's spooky, crazy combinations. This is what makes this Ghoul's Grog. It's not even a weird colour. It's like literally a porter, coffee liqueur, and some vanilla. What makes that ghoulish? That's what I'm trying to get at. It can be delicious, but where's the ghoul?
Like, put a ghost peep in it.
I don't even like peeps, but all right. That's a good compromise. That's a good compromise. Drink it out of a spoopy mug.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. You won me back to it. It's a treat. Vampire's Kiss. I feel like this could be your one.
It sounds like it could be mine.
I actually, when I read this, beyond the name, I was like, this actually could be your one.
Okay.
This version, not the co-pilot version. I'm
Okay.
giving you spoiler alert. Mix a ruby red ale with raspberry liqueur and a splash of lemon juice and garnish with blood orange.
That's my drink.
Yeah, I feel like that's your signature drink.
Yeah,
like that is
done.
it. The second I saw it, I was like, hell to the yeah, you'll love this.
Yeah.
To me, that's a treat as well.
Yeah.
But the co-pilot version, I want to know which one you prefer.
Okay.
The co-pilot version is a red ale, pomegranate juice, and grenadine garnished with pomegranate seeds. Which one do you think is better?
Oh, I do like pomegranate though.
I feel like pomegranate, great,
but I feel like pomegranate is more Hades than it is vampire.
Look, I didn't make this co-piloted. I'm going to have to ask you to take that up with our AI overlords.
I feel like co-pilot is getting its Dark Lords mixed up there.
Look, they just went, what's red? That's red.
Right.
Blood.
Yeah, the first one I think is the better of the two.
I felt like the second one for me was like a trick because I like pomegranate juice.
Yeah.
I really like grenadine, love red ale. All those things in isolation, love. Together, I don't think they sound very nice together.
Yeah.
But the first one sounds, chef's kiss. Paul McCartney chef's kiss, like 7 times over. Love it. We've got the next one, Ghostly Ghost, which is a blend of sour ghost with coconut cream, lime juice, and a dash of blue carousel. And then you add edible glitter for a ghostly shimmer.
That sounds like a treat. I would give that a go.
I said treat, not because I think that there's a potential that this is gonna yes, there's a potential it's gonna end badly.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, we're using glitter which is like not great because it's everywhere all the time once you use it. But this one for me felt like it won the award for the most interesting. So for that, I was like, this is what I was looking for. This is what I wanted. And instead they were like, porter, coffee liqueur, and vanilla.
You're so mad about that one.
Yeah, what gives? We've got 4 more. Witch's Cauldron. Create a punch with dark porter, apple cider, and spiced rum. Dot.
I just don't think I'm feeling the apple cider in the things. Like,
you're like, why do we have to do the cider? Right. For me, I like cider and spiced rum and cider together. Great. Yeah. And for our UK listeners, this is American cider, the cloudy apple juice.
Like cloudy apple juice. Yeah, it's not hard cider.
I think for me, this is also a trick, but that's because I can't imagine mixing the cider with the rum with a porter.
With a porter, yeah.
The porter and the apple cider feel like it's not the one.
Yeah.
Zombie Apocalypse.
Ooh.
Mix a hoppy IPA with grapefruit juice, vodka, and a splash of grenadine.
Okay. Feels a bit basic. I mean, I'm sure it's tasty.
That's a bit basic, but the other one is like, oh, great.
Yeah, but that was flavours that I like. This one, like, it's okay.
But I like those ones.
But if you're getting like a hoppy IPA, was it hoppy IPA? Did you say?
Yeah, hoppy IPA. Yeah,
hoppy IPA, and you're adding grapefruit to it. Like, it's already tastes like grapefruit. Like, that feels redundant. Like, you're just adding more of the same thing to it. Like,
it's gonna smell so farty. Maybe that's what they're going for. The zombie apocalypse. Oh yeah, it's guava. Yeah. I'm thinking of guava. Although I do find that because like grapefruit and guava sometimes end up in like similar aroma profiles when you've got the beers. It's just like I just put 2 and 2 together now. Like every time I'm like, nah, also farty. But fine. To be fair,
I'm sure it'd taste fine, but like, can we be a bit more creative than adding grapefruit to a grapefruit flavored beer?
Talk to me about creativity here. But also, I agree. Like for me, this was a trick because I didn't think it sounded interesting, innovative, or I don't really like grapefruit juice. I don't really like grapefruits.
Yeah,
it's just not for me. So, all right, that's a trick for both of us then. 2 more. Pumpkin King. So this is a pumpkin ale, spiced rum, pumpkin puree, and cinnamon sugar with a little bit of extra cinnamon for like a pinch on top as a garnish. And that cinnamon sugar is used for a cinnamon sugar rim.
I mean, we're going to try that, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously a treat.
Right.
The reason I put it in here is because normally, so like the cinnamon sugar rim that's a normal thing for pumpkin ales in the US. I know people will be up in arms about it. And like putting spiced rum with pumpkin ale, also not weird.
Yeah.
For me, what was like the standout piece that was interesting was the pumpkin puree.
Yeah.
So it basically was like use about a spoonful of pumpkin puree, and then you mix it all together. So I'm guessing you shake it all together, which I'm guessing like that adds a little bit of thickness to it as well. So yeah, I thought that sounded interesting. I was like, oh, pumpkin puree, that's nice. So I thought it would be a treat for both of us. But
yeah.
And the final one, ectoplasmic elixir, which is an IPA, Midori, lemon lime soda, and a splash of lime juice garnished with a lime wheel.
I mean, you've got Midori, so you're going to give this a go, right?
Genuinely, yes. I was honestly like, I bought Midori, which is the single-handedly...
I can't believe that's really difficult to get hold of. Like,
it's really difficult to get hold of, but
so
I would
surprised.
argue not the weirdest thing in my bar.
Yeah.
It feels like it should be. It's probably like top 5 obscure things in my bar as far as like a UK.
Like it's not that obscure.
It's
I'm
obscure.
So surprised that you're so different.
I would argue it's obscure in the UK, not in the rest of the world. Yeah, because I just never see it anywhere. No one ever talks about it. I never see Midori sours. I never see like Midori based drinks.
Yeah.
It's only if I'm going to like specifically like a Japanese like if there's Japanese specific cocktails, because it's, for anyone that doesn't know, like Midori is infused with like Japanese melons. It's a melon flavored liquor. So that's the only time I really see it, is like if it's someplace that is wholly committed to the Japanese theme and they're doing a specific cocktail menu, there might be Midori. But like I don't just go to a bar and go, oh, there's Midori over there. It was really hard to buy.
But weird.
I was like, I've got IPA. I've got all these ingredients.
You've got all those ingredients.
I have lemon lime soda. I have all of it. I could literally go in my fridge now and make it. I'm not, but I could.
That sounds like a treat.
This is a massive treat. I wanted to try it because I thought, I don't know how the Midori will work with the IPA.
Yeah.
So I want to play around with the Midori a bit more. So the last thing that I will say on this topic is when I was Googling the next thing, which we might not even, we can do a few, but we probably don't have time for a lot of them. But I was Googling some good table topics or quick fire round questions that were like spooky Halloween themed and horror themed and everything. And Copilot, this is just to talk about how ridiculous Copilot is.
Yeah.
It just kept, like, there was no context. It just went, the legend of the Brewmaster's ghost. That was a talking point that it came up with. And I was like,
have we got the legend of the Brewmaster's ghost?
Well, I was like, is it a thing?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a thing. So I asked Copilot to elaborate. I said, what is the legend of the Brewmaster's ghost?
Yeah.
What it came back with: here's a spooky tale to whet your eerie appetite. In the heart of the old brewery, tales of the Brewmaster's ghost abound. Legend has it that the master brewer, devoted to perfecting his craft, met a mysterious end one fateful night. Driven by a relentless pursuit of the perfect brew, he concocted a potion that was said to hold the very essence of his soul. Tragically, he perished before he could taste his creation. That would be so sad if you spent all your time and then you were like, and then with my final breath, I am dead before I could even try it. Like while it was aging or something, and you were like, no! I only had one more week to go. Since that night, workers and visitors have claimed to hear the soft clinking of bottles, whispers in the empty halls, and the faint aroma of hops, even when no brewing is taking place. Some say that on a certain moonlit nights, you can catch a glimpse of the brewmaster silently tending to his unfinished masterpiece, forever bound to his craft. This spirit is not malevolent, but rather a guardian of the brewery, ensuring the brews maintain their exceptional quality. It's said that if you leave a pint of your finest beer at the brewhouse door, the brewmaster's ghost will bless your next batch with unparalleled flavour. And then it's finished with a chilling tale to share over a pint. Wouldn't you agree? Beer clinking emoji, ghost with the tongue out emoji. And I was like, so co-pilot, you just made up a bunch of shit. Do you think it's a chilling? But do you think it's a chilling tale to share over a pint? Beer clink emoji, ghost tongue out emoji.
No.
But also, I kind of want to make it a thing now.
Yes.
You know how people are like, oh, we leave out for Santa, Father Christmas, where we leave cookies out, and we leave carrots out for his reindeer, and like that's all great. I like the idea of like you've got to leave out a pint for the Brewmaster's ghost.
Brewmaster's ghost.
For like, I think that we should start convincing people like, oh, do you want your beer festival to go right? Don't forget, the night before the event, you need to leave a pint of your best bitter.
Find your spear.
leave your most prized beer out. A pint of that the night before in dedication to the Brewmaster's ghost, and he'll make sure your event goes swimming. You should start doing that from an events perspective. Telling people that this is like a routine that has to be followed, and you should be like, it's not to be messed with.
Otherwise we'll have a bad event.
You will have a bad event. You'll have a bad beer festival. You'll have a bad event. You'll have a bad... You're opening a new location. You better leave that pint out.
Yeah.
Or the Brewmaster's ghost won't bless you with a great opening.
Brilliant. I love it.
So there you go. That's what I've got to give. Do we have time for a few cheeky questions?
Yeah, go on.
Right.
Let's do a few.
I might have my last beer. I'm going to do that though, because I really want the one I've got out. I'm really excited about it. So I'm going to have my last one. Right. My final beer of the night is Immortal by Otherworld Brewing.
Oh.
Which is a mango, pineapple and yuzu sour beer. And the problem is I could have stayed with just 2 beers, but I got really amped about having this because the flavour profiles, just to me, I'm like,
you love yuzu.
I love it. I love yuzu. I love pineapple. Probably one of my favourite... Pineapple's up there for one of my favourite fruits.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's beautiful. Oh my God. Ah! The flavors. The way the flavors come together. So it's like immediately I was like, that is 100% yuzu. Like unmistakable. That is yuzu. And then the pineapple, just the sharpness of the pineapple, but the tartness came in, like, because you get the tartness of the yuzu and then it goes like pineapple and then like sort of the sweetness of the mango at the back. Oh, big recommend. That's a good one.
Tori's happy.
I'm still very happy. You've got the big boy,
don't you? The big boy, the 10%er. It's like chocolate and red wine.
Oh, that sounds amazing though, but a really good sipper. I still have my Beyond the Pale, so I'm going to go back and forth sort of, but it's just, I was too impatient. I couldn't not have it.
Okay, I just need to read you this.
Please do.
So I was just checking the ABV on this, and I've noticed that on the back of the can, it says that my beer pairs with smoked mushrooms, ascots, and live, laugh, love signs.
Oh boy.
I'd share that. That was amusing. Not spooky. But
when
funny.
You were like smoked mushrooms, I was like, ew, big ew. And then I was like, ascots, and I was like, okay.
They've got some food pairings. I mean, arguably, Freddie and Scooby-Doo wears an ascot, and that's quite a spooky show. So...
I will accept that argument. We're
Thank
good.
You.
So, as I said, I found the Brewmaster's situation, the Brewmaster's curse blessing story, through asking for some table topics. So instead of having our topic jar, I've got our topic cauldron.
Nice. Very on brand.
It is on brand.
I couldn't impressed.
Not put it in the cauldron. So, right. And some of these I put in, even though I was like, oh, that's ridiculous. I don't even know how I'll answer that. But it just felt like a really good talking point. So
let's do it.
I don't know what we're going to get. And these were all generated by ChatGPT because I thought if I generate them, and I thought of some myself, but I thought if I think of all of them, then that's not fun because I already know the answers to them. Right. This is so silly. If you were trapped in a haunted brewery, what beer style would you want as your only defense?
As my only defense.
Yeah. I don't even know what that's meant to mean because some of these things were so silly that I was just like, I'm going to put it because that sounds funny. I like that.
Gers.
Why?
Because the sourness will upset the ghosts, and if they get poltergeisty, you can shake up the bottles and ping the corks at them.
Oh, I like how creative you just got with that.
See?
Oh, I really enjoyed that. That was good. I was like, I just put it down because I thought it was silly to be like, what would you? I was like, oh, put like, get a garlic beer or something. I don't know.
I've never thought of that. It's not vampires. It's haunted.
Yeah, but it could be haunted by vampires.
Vampires
I've watched
don't
What We Do
haunt.
in the Shadows. I know. They haunt.
Vampires don't haunt.
They haunt houses. If they feel like it. Yeah. Oh, that's a really good one. And that's really, just like when we're doing beer tasting notes, that's really swayed my opinion.
Sorry. Yeah.
Part of me's like maybe maybe a beer that's going through secondary fermentation and like a fruited beer. So I could basically say the same thing as you, but not. But then also but then you can't also enjoy drinking those really. So I think your answer's too good. I can't even think of anything.
I just came up with that on the spot too.
That was really good. I've read this before and I was literally like, I don't know how I'm going to answer this one. I hope that one doesn't come up. Oh, yeah. I feel like yours is definitely the one. I like that. That was the most creative. I just got a clap for that. That was the most. The most creative, interesting answer. All right. I'm going to sip. Honestly, this immortal, I feel immortal. Is how good it is. Oh my goodness. The Beyond the Pales, I mean, all of them were really, really great. They're all very different beers. And they just scratch such different itches. But I think because I just love pineapple and yuzu and mango flavors so much, it's so refreshing. It's so good. All right, the next one. I also wrote them in all different colours just because I was like, oh, it'll be really fun to open up and get a different colour. And I'll be like, oh. Do you think, I'm going to qualify this as well with the fact that a caveat, I don't quite know, I just wrote it exactly as it was written. So,
okay.
Do you think Halloween/autumnal beers should lean towards dark and heavy styles, in brackets it says, like stouts or porters, or can lighter, unexpected styles fit?
I mean, a pumpkin beer is a lighter beer. This just comes to that, oh, we only drink dark beers in the winter nonsense. Like, I drink dark beers all year round. So, they fit if that's the beer that you want to drink.
If they fit, they sit. I agree. Because I have sours all year round. I have stouts all year round.
Yeah, you can totally get some good, I've had a good, sour pumpkin beer, I think.
I brought you a sour pumpkin beer.
Yeah.
That was awesome, that one.
Yeah. So, you can totally do that. You can get fruited beers that are great for the season. Of course you can.
Yeah, I agree.
Good beer.
I think even though I'm very scenario driven and I don't go this style of beer. I'm never this style of beer is for this season. I'm more the flavor profiles or what the beer's called or I'm this is perfect for this scenario. I'm not like this. I wouldn't go, oh, because it's a quite in your face fruity punchy sour, oh, that's not an autumnal or moving into winter beer. I'm oh, it's called immortal, it's winter. It's autumnal because it's got that spooky name to it. Yeah, I completely agree.
And one of my favourite Christmas beers is Glue Creek, which is, a cherry beer that isn't heavy. It's a little bit spiced, but it's not a heavy, dark beer. And that's one of my favourite Christmas beers.
But I feel like you can spice so many different beers that you'd go, oh, that's a lighter beer, but it's spiced. That way, the spice selection feels like it works with the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I could phrase that any better than you've just done.
I'm on a roll tonight.
You are. I honestly unmatched. My brain's dead. So, right. I wrote my own commentary as part of this. So, which spooky quote unquote ingredient would you most like to see / try in a beer? Examples given: pumpkin, and then I put in brackets nah in all caps. Ghost pepper, black garlic, etc. Have you already had any of these? To qualify, I said nah because I was like, that's not a spooky
That's not a
ingredient.
spooky
That's
ingredient.
They only
black
gave
garlic.
me 3 examples.
I tried black garlic. I've never had those. There is a garlic beer.
There's a garlic beer, and they
I've
do
never
use
tried
black
it.
garlic.
Oh yeah,
in some of them, but I've never tried it myself. I would definitely try that because I love garlic.
As soon as you said spooky ingredients, I thought ghost pepper. I don't really like chilies in beer.
They always tend to be in stouts. My problem with them is I don't dislike them, but I'm very specific about where I personally like the heat to be.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't put the heat in that part of like the taste, like I like it to actually feel warm in my throat, but then not just be heat for the sake of heat. Like I need it to add something.
Yeah.
And I don't always feel like when people use peppers and chili peppers that's how it lands. So I'm very fussy with it, I think.
I'd try it. I don't think I found a chili beer that I really, really like yet. I don't know what other spooky ingredients you'd have.
I've definitely had 1 or 2 that I've gone, oh, that's really good. They tend to be like mole stouts. But again, it's hit and miss because you can really get it wrong where it's just heat. I don't want the heat just taking over like inside my mouth because that's just, it takes away all the flavor and I don't like that. Yeah, I couldn't think of any other like examples. It only gave pumpkin, ghost pepper, and black garlic. And I was like, what other spooky flavors are there? Like,
don't really know. I mean, I think we've had this conversation before where we've said like we'll try pretty much anything in beer. Like,
especially if
unless I'm allergic and it's gonna cause me pain, then I'll probably try it.
I'm not allergic really to anything.
No.
Like
so
I don't even like seafood, and I've had beer with seafood in it.
Yeah.
So
we'll try it.
Oh, if it's something that I've never tried before, I will try it just because I feel like it's interesting. If it's a unique ingredient, I feel like I'll try it. But I think out of all those 3 examples, obviously pumpkin's the easiest one. But I think I'd be most jazzed to try a black garlic. Yeah. I might have had ghost pepper, I'm not sure. But I think 100% I haven't had anything with garlic in it. And I would love to try that. All right, let's do like 1 more.
Yeah.
Even number it. I like this one. What scary, supernatural, or horror film personality would you most like to share a beer with, and why?
Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I wrote this and I was
why
like,
is this even a question?
Spike, so why am I asking
why is this even... Or Buffy?
I think I like a lot of like I like horror comedies, so I feel like for me it would be like Shaun from Shaun of the Dead, or because like that would be
pub.
Funny.
Wait for it to blow over.
Wait for it all to blow over because it will. Or like Binks from Hocus Pocus.
Oh, that's
like
a good
you get
one.
like cat cuddles, but he's like also can talk to you. So, I'm trying probably
Sabrina.
Something along.
I want to talk to Sabrina.
Oh God, I want to talk to Salem. Fuck Sabrina.
Well, you won't get cat cuddles from Salem.
Yeah, I don't care, but I don't care, but that's why I love him. I feel like his sassy personality and my sassy personality would get on really well because we'd have a bitch fist like about everything. We'd be like, this is great, and we would just be sassing people left, right, and centre. Or Billy from Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel
Billy
that.
would be great.
He'd be great because he
He'd
would
love a
also
good
sass
ale.
people. He would sass the
He
hell out
would
of people.
properly sass people.
Love
And
it.
he'd love a pint of ale.
Part of me is like, or actually the guy that's like the guy dressed up as the devil, because it looks like him and his wife, because it looks like they know how to party.
Yeah, it's so true.
But that's probably what my picks wouldn't actually be like Halloween, like they'd be like funny Halloween people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who I'd pick. I feel like the second we stop recording, I'm gonna be like, no, there was someone so much better. But yeah,
I might finally then determine what Beer Spike is when we're doing beer pairing with Buffy characters. I still can't decide.
To be fair, there are questions in here, but we'll have to wait for a later date for those. So yeah, that's it. That was a bit of a fun, spooky wooky episode. Like I said, I've got way more of these bad boys. Make it rain. That's like Question Bay. I'm like dropping the questions in the cauldron.
jar.
Well, yeah, but this is my question to you: is like, do we want to hold on to some in case there's time for after pumpkin spice? Do we want to just chuck them in the jar, even though that's going to be like, I mean, I'm spooky year round, but do we want spooky questions year round, or do we want to hold on to them? And if we're still here in a year's time.
I say we hold on to them for the pumpkin episode and then we put them in the jar because we're spooky year round.
We are spooky year round.
Yeah.
I can't wait for it to be like March or something, and we're like March or April. April works too well with the holidays like that, but like maybe like March, and we're like, oh, what if you could hang out with one horror film? Why? Who would it be and why? And we're like, oh, that's weirdly specific.
Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Why are you asking me this question over and over?
Every time. Right. Well, there we go. I've now got 2 beers still to finish. So we need to go and have those. Joe, if people want to talk to you about spontaneous, like, honestly, I'm still thinking about the start of this episode when you're talking about spontaneous combusting hops. If someone wants to talk to you about spontaneously combusting hops, where can they talk to you?
I mean, that is kind of spooky, right? Spontaneously combusting hops.
100% spontaneous combustion definitely counts.
You can come talk to me about that. I am Love Beer Learning. You'll find me on Instagram, most likely. I'm on Facebook and a couple of other places, but just come find me on Instagram. You can also come to my website, which is lovebeerlearning.co.uk, or you can email me, lovebeerlearning@gmail.com. You can come ask both of us spooky questions or any questions that you want to add to our topics jar for us to pull out on a future episode. We are Women's Brew on Instagram. You can also email us at womensbrewpodcast@gmail.com, or Tori, if they would like to talk to you about the legend of the Brewmaster's ghost.
You've completely thrown me off, because normally I do the podcast one. And then you did. I was like, oh, that's great. I don't. So... Yeah, but I'm like, oh, that's great. I don't even have to do that one now. But also, please, whoever's using our email for other things, please stop using it for other things. We're not going to fit your cupboards. We don't know how to fit covers. We're grossly underqualified for that. You know, we're not gonna.
We also don't want your guest lists from the.
I don't want your guest list. One of the things. Rick had actually signed up for tickets for one of those events, and then I went, just so you know, your email's been compromised, and he was like, "What?" And I was like, "You're welcome. You can thank the podcast for that." Number 2, number 3, Unilever. I don't know why you think we're some random dude. We're not a random dude. Please stop emailing us. So even though we put the email out there for the podcast, it's very clear we're a women's brew podcast. We're not a women's cupboard fitters at gmail.com. Just putting that out there.
And also we are in the UK, in case
in case
you didn't notice. We're in the UK. Don't ask us questions about the US or ask us for quotes about US things, because you're going to be... You can. You'll then expect us to be able to do it from a US perspective, and we can't.
You can absolutely ask the question. I can't promise we'll give the answer that you want.
No.
But there we go. I digress. If you want to talk to me about like Hocus Pocus, like I'm here trying to figure out where I want to go on a long weekend, recommend where I should go on a long weekend, Or I'm willing to forego the long weekend and just get the Hocus Pocus Lego set. So that's what I really want. That's what I'm really hoping I get for my birthday. If you want to come talk about Hocus Pocus to me, I'm here for it all the time. Joe and I still need to do our Hocus Pocus drinking game.
We do.
That's on the cards. So
gonna be great.
if you want to come talk to me about Hocus Pocus, weird made up stories about brewmasters and how we can gaslight your friends into leaving a pint out for the brewmaster.
We will do that for you.
You know, any of these ghost stories, please, I am spooky year round. Come talk to me on Instagram at adventures_in_hoptimism, or you can email me at adventuresinoptimism@gmail.com. Let's go finish these beers.
Cheers.